Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Books and Banter, your Medina Library's video blog as to what the experts are reading. This is going to be the blurb edition. We're going to go quick, fast, and furious. This is also our Frankenstorm edition. I got my friend Frankenstein here, getting you all ready for Halloween on a kind of a gloomy Monday morning here in Medina. Anyway, let's get right to it. First book, Resurrection Express, Stephen Romano. Fans of Lethal Weapon, the Die Hard movies, any type of action movies. If you like action, you like big explosions, big guns, all kinds of characters that are over the top, this is the book for you that you're going to want to get a hold of. Elroy Coffin is a big-time computer hacker. He gets pulled out of jail to break into a high-security vault, but what he really gets pulled into is a high-stakes game of life and death, a race to find out what really the Resurrection Express is. One of those thrillers that is over the top, has huge world implications. As I mentioned, lots of fighting, big explosions, big weapons. It doesn't read like a 400-page book. It clocks in about a little over like 430 pages, but you're going to tear through this because it goes just that quickly. I like the techno code breaking type stuff, the little techie tidbits in there, really cool. There is a little bit of too much of that, hey, it's a last minute, like something rescues the characters, a little bit too much of that, but again, it's kind of an over-the-top book. Patterson fans, I think you're going to like this. Clive Cussler fans, I'd get this too. Matthew Riley, the Jack West series. Even a Dale Brown, because it does have some of that military tech stuff in it. You're going to want a big old California bomb, appropriately, Zinfandel to go with this one. Not too much, because those can clock in about 16% alcohol, and you won't be reading much at all if you have too much of that stuff. Zinzilla, Cardinal Zin, Seven Deadly Zins. Zinfandels have great names. Pair one of these with this guy. All right, next up, Beautiful Mystery, Louise Penny. If you're not reading Louise Penny, you should be, because he's a wonderful, wonderful author. This is part of the Inspector Gamache series. Gamache, I'm not quite sure how you say it. There's about 8 in this series. You don't have to read them in order. It's not a bad idea to do it because there's always a tidbit. I've read about 4 of his books, not in any order at all. There's always little tidbits that you might miss. Not going to affect the story, but it might not be a bad idea. This book, Gamache is at an isolated monastery, cool little setting, where a monk has been murdered. It's kind of a traditional, maybe a little bit of a locked room type of mystery in that where the murder is committed, you know it's on this isolated island, you know it's someone in the monastery, it's actually in a garden that only a few people have access to. Makes it very cool, very interesting, kind of classical. Agatha Christie fans, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes fans, fans of the TV show Sherlock, any mystery fan, you're going to want to get a hold of this book. So anyway, yeah, it also has to do with Gregorian chant, dealing with the breaking of code of silence, but not all is harmonious, pun intended on my part, in the monastery. Wonderful little book. I love the pace of it. I love the setting. One thing that he always does is kind of takes you into the world of Quebec and kind of French-speaking France, and always the differences in between the English and the French-speaking in Canada, which is something that's, I think, very, very interesting, something you don't really pick up in any other books, but a really cool little bit of it. How he describes the monk's life and the routine, how he integrates it into the plot is just wonderful. Characters are really developed. None of them are over the top. None of them are like superheroes or super villains. They're all kind of middle of the road like most of us. The best thing is you don't know who does it. It's a real, it's kind of that whodunit thing, but you really don't know until he reveals it at the end. So very good. The wine, I'm going to go off the board here. I'll get a hybrid wine, a little bit of hybrid wine from Ohio, like a Vidal Blanc or a Vignoles. Reason being, this is kind of a nice segue if you read cozy mysteries, but you don't read like the big thrillers like a lot of the ones I talk about. This is nice in between. It's not a cozy, it's not over the top thriller, just like a nice little Vidal or a Vignoles from Ohio, nice little white wine, or a Chamberson on the red wines. If you know a sweet wine drinker, you want to kind of move them over to the dry wines. There you go. Okay. Last but not least, Book of Horrors, edited by Stephen Jones, just to get you ready for Halloween. A couple, I don't read a lot of horror, but there's a Stephen King story in here. Ramsey Campbell, I think, are the 2 big authors. This is kind of the movement to take horror back, to take it away from the Twilights and all the zombies and all the kind of horror light out there. I just want to read a quick passage of what Jones writes, what he's trying to do with this anthology here. Again, he's talking about the paranormal romance, urban fantasies, literary mashup. Although it cannot be denied that there is an audience for these types of fictions, for the most part, these books are not aimed at readers of traditional horror stories. The audience for this type of fiction has no interest in being deliciously scared by what they read or left thinking about a particularly disturbing tale long after they have finished a story and closed the book. That's what the stories here are all about. Get you ready for Halloween. Have this with some port, a little dark chocolate by the fireside. just be careful because this thing will kind of freak you out in a little bit. Last but not least, I did want to mention also, if you watched my last episode, Justin Cronin was kind of, The Passage was my big book that blew me away. I mentioned the 12, here it is in the flesh. This guy is thick, about 570 pages, and it is dense. I'm about 60 pages into it, and now starting to pick up the story. It's going to be good, though. I have a good feeling about that one as well. Finally, on Facebook, check out our Facebook page. Mary has posted a hauntingly good reads list to get you in the mood for Halloween. Wonderful books in there to get you in the spirit, get you a little scared, all that good stuff that goes with Halloween. So, all right, Fast and Furious, like I promised, the Frankenstorm episode. That's it. Let me know what you think, and we will see you at the library.